parcel, mindfulness school. So he's traveling around the country and the world, introducing this method, new system, the way how we can develop mindfulness, how we can apply mindfulness in our day-to-day life. So he mostly like to work with kids. I think he's might happy seeing these kids also today. So anyway, we would like to welcome Bhante Dhammajiva, Sarana Heritage in Sri Lanka, one of famous heritage. You might heard Dhamma talks from Katigurude Jnanananda Thero, Katigurude Jnanananda Thero and Venerable Dhammajiva, they both are coming from same tradition. And we all are the same traditions, but particularly there is a relationship with Katigurude Jnanananda Thero. So anyway, we are lucky in here today to participate in guided meditation and Dhamma talks on our Jiva with Bhante Dhammajiva. So the schedule is same, but one thing, you may not have personal interviews today because I know Bhante Dhammajiva's tradition is a little bit different, but if there is something that you want to really ask as question, yes, you can use any time to ask questions. There is an events, question and answer events also. During that time, as we do normally, you can write into the papers, you can put into the box, but the Dhammajiva will answer the questions. So now let us start our meditation, guided meditation. Thank you.
Teruvan Saranai. Good morning to everybody. Thank you very much, Bhante, Venerables, Dhamma friends. The first part of our session is to have a guided meditation. I'll rather name it as guided mindful sitting. In practice of mindful sitting, sometimes we call as synonym to the meditation, but in mindfulness as such, there are 4 aspects when you are introducing to school children, and I found it very effective. And one way is to how to sit mindfully. The second part is how to do walking mindfully. Third part is how to be mindful in our day-to-day activities. And the fourth part is mindful games. Rather, we will not play the third one because it is rather very dramatic. And if time permits, if Bhante Ji is allowing, we can just try. But anyway, now we are going to give some guidance as to how to sit mindfully. And if I am to refer to the Satipatthana Sutta, that's a very famous discourse the Buddha delivered, introducing mindfulness as one and the only way. Ekaino ayam bhikkhave maggo sattanang visuddhya yadidan chattaro satipatthana. The Buddha depicts that mindfulness is the one and the only way for the purification of beings. And purification of a being is the first and foremost benefit, and it is leading to 7 benefits. The last one is the emancipation Nibbana. So when you are introducing, we just take the Sattanang Visuddhya, the upliftment of the being or purification of being. And where the Buddha explained 21 methods how to deal with mindfulness. Early 14 methods are with how to deal with your body. And today also we are going to start with that. And whenever the Buddha explaining mindfulness, he prefers the mindful sitting. And that is the point, that is the way we recognize the Buddha, the way the Buddha sits. And you can see it is in a very, very profound foundation. Complete triangle is touching the ground. And towards apex, also it is somewhat like a pyramid. Or like in Sri Lanka, we have ant hills. It's something like that, conical in shape, or stupa. And that is the most uh, established architectural structure. So if you can prepare your body for sitting in that way, that will be most conducive, but don't make it as a restriction, because many people, specifically in Sri Lanka, they don't like meditation because they can't sit cross-legged. Cross-legged sitting is good and well and done. But even without that, even if you are sitting on a purpose-built chair or a straight back chair, the basic thing depicted was to keep your upper part of your body is erect, because when you are sitting, we are closely related with our breath. Because after so much of aeons of research, the Buddha found whenever the body is completely passive, in that sense, no volition, no will, to maintain the life, the bare minimum intrinsic character of the living body is the breath. So we, after 2,600 or 567 years later, we also can try. When we are sitting and giving the chance for the mindfulness, we try to cut off all the sensory impingements, sensory bombardments. Therefore, at the beginning, it is better to close your eyes so that there won't be any visual objects, shapes, and colors. Or maybe some mental images and hallucination and kind of thing, but you are cut off. And second thing is the sound. So when you are building a monastery or meditation hall like this, we select that kind of a calm and quiet space, and Bhavana society is a very characteristic. And the third one is the smell. You have to find normal atmosphere, normal air, so that there won't be any good or bad smells. And you are supposed to not to taste anything, so the tongue is resting and no talking. And the last one is the body. You have fixed the body in such a way it need no any adjustments. This body is sits. There are four cardinal postures: sitting, standing, walking, and lying down. For the beginners, always prefer to have sitting posture and prepare your posture in such a way you feel comfortable. In Pali, it is called Sukhi Attanam Pariharami. You use your body in a very comfortable way, so that left side of your body and the right side of your body must be symmetrical. It must be balanced so that it sits quite a long time. And the second thing is that keep the upper part of your body erect, but not rigid, so that breathing will take place either voluntarily or involuntarily. And don't encourage any forced breathing, voluntary breathing. Just let the breathings to take place. And for as a conducive factor, you may keep the upper part of your body erect and see the tilt of your head, whereby it is not bent forward or backward or sideways. If so, there may be some pains in time to come. And your upper part of your body, you can see the tilt and see what is the best angle where the upper part of the body, weight of the upper part of the body will spread uh, among the lower part of your body. So this is the way at the beginning, at the outset, you fix the body. And then don't entertain any kind of visual objects, sounds, smells, tastes, and bodily uh, adjustments, and see how many thought moments, how many seconds, how many minutes you can just be. Or otherwise we can say just doing nothing. And then observe the mind, how it is behaving when there are no active contribution towards sensuous impingements, the visual objects, sounds, smell, taste, and touch. Where the mind. That's a purified mind. That's what we call upliftment of the mind. So when we are giving that kind of a conducive condition or suitable conditions, we can see how much the mind is appreciating it, or it may be trying to jump out to the past or future. Past is always with the regret. Future is always with the excitements. And other people, other places, because mind is unfamiliar with the here, now, I am. So in a meditation center, we come here and take precepts and register for the residential retreat and let the mind to be at home and see how long we can keep the mind in the alignment of here, now, I am. So we will try and see as a group. And later in the session of question and answer, we can share our experiences. So some people, they are asking a fixed point, a pivotal point, or benchmark, or object of meditation, because otherwise they don't find anything. Because we have never given the chance with no object to the mind. That is quite a strange. Of course, some of you may be quite familiar senior yogis, and some of you may be newcomers, wherever it may be, when the mind kept it no challenges, no volition, no will, no intention, no wish, no appointments, just see what is happening. And if it is impossible, the Buddha very mildly mild suggestion is be with the breath. That's a bare minimum intrinsic character of that I am not dead. I am not sleeping. I am aware. And I am not unconscious. I am conscious and mindful. So breath is the what usually given as the benchmark or the pivotal point or object of meditation if you are asking for. But many of the human population, they complain, they can't touch the point, they can't feel the point, breath, they can't feel the, touch the breath, so therefore mind get bewildered. Accordingly, one can adjust as to when the in-breath happens, your tummy and the chest will be expanding, so you will feel your clothings attire, the pressurizing. When the out-breath happens, you may feel relaxation. So in-breath and out-breath, and that expansion and contraction happen in a rhythmic way. So these are the points we can give safely. But yet another one, before starting my guided instructions, you can feel you are not walking, you are not standing, you are not lying down, but you are sitting. What are the touching points? So this is the basic instructions to keep the mind mindful, not the past, not the future, not the other people, not the other places, to be here. Take the body as the pivot and breath or expansion, contraction as the object of meditation, if the mind is asking, and see uh, till 9:30 how much we can maintain this silence, how can we maintain this mindfulness, how can we maintain this here now I am situation, and after that we will go for the Dhamma talk. Thank you very much for your listening. Hope you will have a very nice, peaceful sitting. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much for the cooperation. Full silence. Okay, we are going to take about 1 hour, and today's topic suggested was Samma Ajiva in Pali. In English, we translate that into correct livelihood. So when you are sitting and meditating, livelihood is 100% pure. So therefore, just sitting itself is a great achievement, specifically in our multitasking life with so much of responsibilities. So therefore, you must make your schedules as well as your timetable to have mindfulness unto yourself. So therefore, there is no other socialization. Be unto oneself. Here, now, I am. So when that is given, your ajiva, your livelihood is 100%. But even many of us often goes to this here, now, I am situation, or here, now, I am thought moments, but we do not know. We are not appreciating it. Then, no benefits. The Buddha appearing and teaching us, you may knowingly or unknowingly, be here and now. As far as you are not appreciating it, as far as you are not valuing it, benefits are not there. So therefore, being here and now is one thing, and awareness and attentiveness, mindfulness upon that is something. So we meditators occasionally go to a center like this, and as a group or as a single person, individual, we go to sit and meditate. Our effective way of contribution is closing our eyes and not listening, or go to a silent place and do not entertain smells, tasting, and touch, or the bodily postures. And if you are appreciating it, we can say you are a Buddhist. If you are not appreciating it, you don't have Buddha light, you don't have Dhamma light, you don't have Sangha light. So therefore, one thing is you must know that something you must learn. Intuitively, you must understand doing nothing is the simplest way to define correct livelihood. But whole day we can't stay doing nothing. Whole week we can't, whole month, whole year, whole livelihood, because we must have our basic needs. Whenever you are earning, you have to have interact with other people and open your eyes and listening, smelling, tasting, touching. And there also you can understand, for my livelihood, I have to open my eyes and do it. And to have my livelihood and basic requirements, four requisites of a monk, for example, our clothing, our food, our dwellings, and our medicines. Lay people, same thing, but it's multivarious. So when you are about to earn them, you have to open your eyes and listen and talk, smelling, tasting, touching. Whenever it is happening, if you know, that's also way of Buddhist life. And if you do not know, that's the biggest crime. Unknown. If you do not know, if you are ignorant, that's the biggest defilement. So by listening to talk like this, or by giving deductive thinking and inferential thinking, or by completely cut off uh, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching, we have these combinations in our life. So therefore, learning theoretically about these things, one aspect. The other part of it is the verifying that, see the benefits of that. That's also another aspect. So we, that small group under this very roof, may have somewhat understanding about all the three, because we have just had about 30, 40 minutes of at least trying to be here and now. And as far as we have that touch, I would say it is the mindfulness, touch of mindfulness. When you are doing a lot of activities in the day-to-day life, there are a lot of thought moments here now I am. And you can be aware. And other areas where you are not unto yourself, you are thinking about the past, you have to think, you are thinking about the future, think about other people, other places, and you know, due to the unavoidable circumstances, I do. And maybe completely ignorant about that. The aeons of time we call non-Buddhist era, animals and beings are living without any understanding about this livelihood. They are ignorant about that, and they have no capacity to understand that livelihood is something very relevant, very important for our spiritual life, and we have to restrain ourselves. So that is not available in non-Buddhistic on Abuddhotpada Kala in Sinhala. It is not available. Occasionally, after long time, a Buddha emerged and he teaches basically to the human beings. You can have either known, you can be aware of the livelihood, or you can not aware of livelihood, ignorant of livelihood. The primary task of the Buddha is to enlightening ourselves or teaching ourselves. It's a very preliminary, basic human right. You can be aware whether you are having a good livelihood or not. But if you are believing a creator God or intelligent uh, design, you don't take the responsibility about your livelihood. It's already decided, can't help. It is will and the wish of the God. Then you feel like you are innocent. But the Buddha, giving a very radical way, he says, no, you are responsible. I am teaching you, I am not forcing you, I am not regimenting you. You can be aware of your livelihood, and you can see it's a very difficult task. With ignorance, you are blessed with. When you know you are responsible about your livelihood, the heavy burden. Because we are living in such a world. So much of communication and infrastructure and family bondage and other society, this thing, how can we have? So that is why the monks are. That organization is created by the Buddha. As an example, monks, they have to mind their own business. They try setting an example to live as much as possible with the monastic way of life or meditative mendicants. But for the last 30, 40 years, maybe 50 years, there are a lot of, not only Americans, many people try to assimilate this monk's way of life. And that is why the residential retreats are there. They can go to such a place and try on a temporary basis uh, living in a good livelihood. It's a very small fraction of population. Many think it is none of our business. So we are in the trend. We are taken by the habituation and the trends. So there is no way out, and they uh, safely can believe the Creator God can save us. Or I am innocent, I can't do anything. So therefore, they will just go with the trend. So I lived my life about 26 years with that way of life, even though I was born Buddhist and parents are Buddhist and they are namesake Buddhists. But no responsibility given, you are responsible about your behavior. And Karl Marx says, you are a good person, you become defiled because of the class differences. The Isaac Newton told, when a thing is moving in the sky, in the space, it's always moving straight line, unless it is hit with another one. So the Buddha says, Pabassaramidam bhikkhave citta, agantuke upakkilite. Our monks, your mind is pure. Unless it is distracted by visiting defilements. Mind is pure, it's lustrous, but due to the defilement, it appears like defiled and not clear enough. So therefore, basically, our nature, our at-home situation is pure. But we have acquainted due to the interaction with the people and the social situation and our hidden agendas and private and confidential desires, we slowly get defiled. Ultimately, defilement appear like nature, and the purity of the mind appear like completely strange. That's the world we are living in. So we have to go to understanding. Whatever you do, you are a pure being. As far as you are not committing something, as far as you have no will, as far as you have no wish, as far as you have no appointment, as far as you have no any desire, then you are a pure being. But challenge is how many thought moments, how many breath cycles, how many rising and falling cycles you can be unto oneself and be aware this is the pure form of livelihood. How much we can practice that? Oh, here we can try because of the conducive situations with and without, with or without failure. So that is the task we have to have individually. So therefore, livelihood we can discuss in terms of group or plurality or in individuality. So the Buddha, before giving the content or the essence of the Satipatthana Sutta, he first recommend go to a forest, live under a tree, or live in a place whereby it is stimulated by sensuous pleasure or sexual pleasure, whatever it may be. Every time, wherever he is mentioning about uh, breath meditation or anapanasati or kayanapasana, he invariably mentioned you have to go to a forest, sit under a tree, or come to a place like this. A lot of people, but they are not gathering here for any desire. That was Sunyagar. So it happened to me in 26th or 27th year. I met up with a white monk. It was rare. He was an Australian. Accidentally, I met up with him. I just wanted to talk with him, but he refused to talk. He told useless to talk with you people. Then I asked, why? What is the mistake I have done? No, no use. You are not mindful. I never heard about the term. Even though I am a born Buddhist, I got a credit pass in my 10th exam, GCE O level, I have never heard. That's why he told no use of. You people are claiming you all are Buddhist, you all are born in island of Dhamma and spreading Dhamma to the whole world, but you all are not mindful. Then I told, yes, I am not. Is it a crime? Yes. But you can try, but I am hopeless about you. That was a good challenge for me. Because I was in the second year of my university and I had a very prosperous life, definitely, sure. But I never thought mindfulness has a basic essence. So it took 7, 8 years for me to understand. And meanwhile, I registered for the postgraduate degree, simply not to marry, not to do a job, and tell people I am not a meditator. He asked me to hide. Don't show that you are a meditator. Don't try to earn money. Don't try to get married. Then you are asking for trouble. So somehow or the other, I maintain two. I break one by doing a job. I was doing in a foreign company, Norwegian company, and it's prolific because my capacity and ability. But I maintain all the way not to show anyone that I am a meditator and no any interest about marriage. And then only a mishap happened in the company and they kicked me out. Then I became a monk. And my main thing is just to be a beggar. It's the best livelihood. It will be an insult for you just to be a beggar. Whatever the food given, whatever the clothing given, whatever the dwelling given, whatever the medicine available, you have to just take it for utility value, not for luxury, not for consumerization. So more than 36 years, I am a happy monk. I get things, I'm utility more than you. Even though I am not earning, that is the beauty of the correct livelihood. Depending on Chivara, Pindapata, Senasana, Gilana, Prasa, that means clothing, food, dwellings, and the medicine, what is given. So that's the way the Buddha lived 45 years after this enlightenment. So therefore, he first set the role model, the example, how to live. He was a princely being. He was a kingly being. He had all the palaces and all the amenities, but he refused, went to the forest. Of course, unenlightened being, and after 6 years of striving, he achieved, and he lived 45 years. He was a human. He was not a Brahma. He was not Deva. Bhante Gunaratna wrote a song, very famous. He was not the omnipotent, omnipresent God, just a being. So that is what we have to follow. So I know whole life, full of years and full of months and full of week, full day, we cannot. But we can have a glimpses about correct livelihood. That means no sensory impingements and to see whether mind is happy or not. Simple. When you given physically that situation, is our mind is happy with that, no impingements, no relationship, past and future calculations and appointments and desire and wish and long list. We feel listless. We feel boring. We feel monotonous. We feel sleepy. Then what's the life? When there is no such thing. So therefore, very difficult to just cross over to the other side. You have to go gradual way. The Buddha gave Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva. If you are familiar with Noble Eightfold Path, first and foremost, you must have Samma Ditti, the correct view, correct way of thinking. My teacher used to say, preparedness. You must be prepared to have Samma Ajiva. That means correct livelihood. You may not presently full in it, but you must have that view, Samma Ditti. So that preparedness is common for the Buddhist practitioners as well as for the Girl Guides and the Boy Scouts. So Baden-Powell, the first and foremost condition he told, be prepared. And in the American books, Ken Wilber put it in that choicelessly be aware, choiceless awareness. That was very striking for me to read. Let things happen, don't have likings and disliking, choicelessly be aware. So that's a kind of a thing. If you have theoretical backing and preparedness, things are happening. They are not asking your judgment. It is not asking your choice. But invariably we are pouring our judgment. Invariably we are pushing our choice. Ultimately get hooked up. Ultimately get carried away. But no one to tell you That is, your frustration is utterly due to your choice. Frustration is a choice. And correct livelihood is choicelessness. That's a human endowment. We put it. That's a birthright of human beings. No other animals can entertain that. No celestial beings, no Brahma. Animal beings, they have instinct. They are driven by instinct. But in our evolution, human beings came up to that level. You may claim you have so much of desire, so much of choice, and so much of liking and disliking. You can make a lover. You can have a love affair. But then children happen. You can develop the situation when and where possible, choicelessly be aware. A group, for example, can have that motto, can have that idea. Okay, we can have our relationship, we are co-meditators, shall we compromise for choiceless awareness? In Sri Lanka, we had the Nilambe, one meditation center, and there we had a very small group. I used to go there, and of course, we have our own personal mistakes and desire and lack of restraint and all the kind of thing. But we agree, choiceless to be aware what is happening. So therefore, each and every mistake is forgiven. Each and every your own mistakes, forgive and forget. Be present in the present moment. Then it becomes a pleasant moment. And that verification is the main task in American Buddhism today. How can you verify? Whenever you are mindful, when you are choiceless to be aware, whenever you have evenly suspended attention, whenever you have suspended decision, non-judgmental, non-decisive, non-coercive, how do you know it is the quality of mindfulness? Is this leading to correct livelihood? Can you verify? So that's a mammoth task. And I love the American scientist, namely Richard Davidson. And he has written so much of books and sharing so openly. I've never seen in person, but the way he is presenting, and he says for him, he also practiced, I think, 40 years, at least daily, 1 hour. He says he can't think, he can't uh, understand why people are not mindful. When mindfulness is given, that's the least thing, last and the least thing is mindfulness. They think they must have life, they must have a correct livelihood, the proper livelihood, and the money, and the wife, and the house, and the car, and the fridges, and all the kind of. At last, only they will think, what about 5 minutes mindfulness? 23 hours and 55 minutes distracted. And it is very difficult to be mindful because 23 hours and 55 minutes, bewilderment, thinking, daydreaming, fantasizing, frustration, tension, and kind of thing. Even if you go for 5 minutes, very difficult. That means it's possible. And whenever we are increasing the time little by little, you become dependent on the atmosphere. You are not going for luxurious thing or any consumerization. Just try to be here and now. And that, according to the Buddhist philosophy, we have our accumulated defilement for the past lives and the past time. So therefore, huge amount of backlog. So how to pay it off? By just be mindful 5 minutes. That may or may not be enough to verify as to whether I am mindful or not. Because mindfulness gives the clear picture whether you are have correct livelihood or not. Because in the present day, so much of tension, maybe 40% of the population, and 25% clinically they have to treat. They are well to do, but in frustration and tension. But therefore, the mindfulness came into mainstream so far to Times magazines and other lot of magazines dedicated for mindfulness. A lot of organizations are there in America itself, and they are dedicating, but very little number of people think the mindfulness can lead to correct livelihood, and correct livelihood created no friction, and it is not accumulating any defilements. But the thing is how to verify. There are very specific characteristics. You can't take responsibility about others' good or bad livelihood. It is none of your business. And no one can help you towards correct livelihood unless otherwise your conscious decision. And even then, it is not by electric way, not impromptu. To start somewhere and keep on doing, there is a kind of a slowly accumulating or accumulating, and then only you feel these are the only thought moments you are compassionate to yourself. All the other time, you are not concerned about your well-being. You think according to the way the society is running. It's a mad world. You can't satisfy that. So therefore, you have to appear like, you have to be selfish. So all the Buddhist Theravada tradition is always accusing they are very selfish, they are thinking about their own enlightenment, their own emancipation. They have no concern about the other. They have no concern about the other's well-being. But a few years ago, I think after the World Trade Center bombing, they coined the word emotional intelligence, emotional literacy. Then you can think about why people are behaving like that, good or bad. Because we are all with the same mind. So once you become mindful and be unto yourself and take care about uh, correct livelihood, the mind is with little frills and thrills and ripples, mind become calm, and just like a water body, then reflection can happen because it is not with lot of turbulence. Then reflection can happen. You can see the depth of it, and you can see who am I. You can see what am I. Once that happened, that become contagious, then you can understand why people, some are good, some are bad, and you can develop kind of a emotional literacy. Otherwise, we are emotionally quite illiterate, whatever the education you have. That is why the global warming, you can't stop it. It is not an unknown thing. And pollution. Everyone knows the present way it is running, leading to more and more pollution, more and more global warming. No one can stop it. Already started. So therefore, some people, very little number of people, they say, as far as you are mindful, as far as you are be in the present moment, you are cooling down the earth. You are do away with the pollution. Not only your own purification, you are setting an example. So imagine a Bhavana society happening in America and running like this. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. Bhante Gunaratne is from our same area. I read his book on Tumpane to America. It was quite striking, setting an example, and that way it is possible. So don't wait anyone till anyone is going to set the example. You have to be exemplified. Start somewhere. And lucky enough, we have already started. And only thing is how to sustain it, how to make it cumulative. Or that proximate factor is Samma Kammanta. Your the what kind of a job you are doing. Proximate cause for that is Samma Vacha. Your verbal capacity, the way you are talking. Dhamma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva. When it is filtered down only through the Vacha, you can come to the verbal way. You have to restrain your mouth. We are accumulating so much of defilements by talking. That's why everywhere you have noble silence. You feel it. You feel it. And then the way what the job you are doing, is it just for the luxury? Or is it for consumerization or just for the utility value? When you come here, you see the way the food given, way we are wearing, the dwelling place we have, and the medicine, I mean, enough for the purpose, enough for the utility, but not for the luxury and not for the consumerization. And that must be spreading. And then, only then, you can think about correct livelihood. There it appear like a community work. Someone has to take care of it, have an institute, and people come and live. But when the Buddha started, there were no such communities. It happened him to set the example himself. There were some recluses and mendicants were there. But he mastered them and they found no one touched this point. And he went deep into that on the way he got enlightened. And first thought came, this idea is uncommunicable. So he refused to talk with others. So much of aeons of time he tried, I'll become a Buddha and let others to become the Buddha. I'll cross the uh, stream and let others to cross. I will release myself and let the others to release. But soon he became enlightened. He was dumbbound. The people are not ready to listen. They'll be listening if it is a beauty queen selection or supermarket or new production and luxuries and all the kind of thing. They will be rushing. But towards that, second thought came, there may be some people with less dust on their eyes. They may see. You see, 2,567 years now, we are that in category. We try our best. Try to have correct livelihood. And simplest theoretical maximum is sit, close your eyes, don't listen to anything or go to a silent place and have happiness here now I am. It's a perfectly correct livelihood. How to maintain it? How to sustain it? Moment you go out of the Bhavana society, you get mingled with the mad world. When you're coming from the airport, everything was checked. Because with our black skin. So we have to go through it. And no, we are going to go to the Bhavana society, never mind. And when you come here, we try as much as possible, be unto yourself and give this treatment to your body out of compassion. And that's the best you can give into the humanity as such. But it is your birthright. Only thing is you don't know. You think how someone will come and bless you, and then you will become a pure being. Or by doing this and that, you can be a pure being. That is what you call the rites and rituals in all the religious parts. Yes, they are good. And that is how we came up to this level. But at the peak, when you are doing nothing, that's the best meditation. Quite contradictory. In Girimananda Sutta, the Buddha indicates, ye loke upaya upadana cetasa adhithana abhiniveshanusaya te pajahanto viramatina upadiyanto ayang ucchatananda sabbaloke anabhirata sanya. I think maybe in this book you can refer to Girimananda Sutta. No will, no wish, no future expectation, nothing. That's the thought moment. I mean, no motivation. Each and every motivation is with selfishness, is with arrogance, is with one-upmanship. And when we are living in the world, we have to have it. But we must have little time, close your eyes, go to a silent place, and try to experience the sound of silence, doing nothing. And same thing, you won't believe, but you can achieve it. You are doing walking up and down. Open eye. And volitionally you are doing something, not like sitting. Sitting, breath is involuntarily happening. No forced breathing necessary. But there you are doing walking. And keep the attention with the left leg, left leg, right leg. And you know you are working on the earth, you get earth. Most of the time we are not getting earth. So the tension. So when that is happening, still you can feel the correct livelihood. One person particularly asked this question, Bhante, when you are sitting and closing our eyes and the breath also becomes subtle, we know everything is happening. I am not doing any willful thing. I can feel, I can experience, I can verify the livelihood. But when you are walking, then I told, walking happen automatically. Just walking happen. No, it is happening after maybe 30, 40 minutes of the same path. When you are walking, everything happening automatically, just like in the autopiloting mode. And you see, if you fix a CCTV camera and see, you are just walking and no contribution. It is happening like a pendulum going up and down. And there you can let that happen, the body to walk and be aware. Of course, it is not a experience of the beginner. After a while on, you can do. And when you go to the day-to-day activities, morning you get up and start brushing your teeth and feel the brush, feel the toothpaste and start brushing and see how much it is happening automatically in an autopiloting mode. I mean, there you are only unto yourself. It is not always a commonplace. And you can be aware how much I am doing and how much it is happening. Take your plate of rice or plate of food. Start tasting. Slowly, mindfully, silently. And you can see all the tastes, all the hardness, all the warmth and coolness, every aspect of the food. In American language, it's called thin slicing of time. Each and every tiny parts, you are aware. Their food digestion is very good. You are eating very slowly. You will not go for obesity, too much of eating and getting fat. So these are the things we teach in the Sri Lankan schools, how to brush teeth, how to have a cup of tea and a meal and taking a bath. Everything, do it slow manner. And there you can see at the beginning, self is there. I am doing. After a while, everything going to happen because they are routine work. But awareness is there. The vigilance is there. The diligence is there. That is the part giving the so much of dopamine hormone to our body, then you feel like living. We are not just robots. Let the thing happen. While it is doing, you know, I am doing. And after a while, it is going to happen. And there you are fully aware. I don't know. I heard that America also a little interested in cricket. Am I correct? No? You don't know cricket? Yeah. Earlier, the cricket has two umpires, the leg umpire and the main umpire, and they are always biased. They fix the third umpire, CCTV camera. So if out happens or wicket gone, they put the action replay slow motion and see whether it's a yes or no. No one can object because camera has it is unbiased. No human error. The mindfulness is your CCTV camera. Whatever you do, you can go back and see action replay and slow motion. Was it something I did or something happened to me? Very difficult to express in passive voice and active voice. So when you are expressing yourself without any value judgment, no premeditated idea, it's a valuable statement. That is what we are doing in question and answer session. We practice and try to express how many breath cycles wise I became mindful, and then how many breaths I can take mindfully, effortlessly, and how much the tension and frustration is releasing. And while walking, how many steps you are doing consciously, left leg, right leg, left leg, right leg. And after a while, things are going to happen. And they are the releasing and relaxation happens. When you're brushing your teeth, you're having a cup of tea, and while having the meal, and while you are at the end of the day, go and recline in the bed, be aware. There's not necessary to have a meditation center for that. Wherever you live, you can do, but meditation center must be there to start it and to give the initiative, and then slowly spread into your whole day-to-day life, and you will understand if you practice this correct livelihood, even the trees can feel, even the animals can feel, even the non-meditators can feel. It's a kind of a good vibration. So now they are checking so much of equipments. When the mind becomes calm, what are the kind of rays it is emitting? In Sri Lanka, we are trying to have mind wave starter. Very simple machine. One electrode is fixed on the little left side of your forehead and let the person to sit for 40 minutes. And then you can see soon after you close your eyes, some waves are stopping completely. And then with the mindfulness, how much the calming down of the mind and the vigilance and diligence increases. How much similarities while you are sleeping. How much similarities when you are dreaming. And then you can analyze and you can see in your cell phone. Or the EEG machine, which is it's a medical equipments, 16 probes, and you can have a more detail. In America, it is doing with the functional MRI scan, and they can do very detailed. You can put into the machine, and the person in the control room can see whether it's seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, hearing, everything. These areas will get enlightened. And when there is nothing happen, mind becoming the full well-being, and that particular person is not there. egocentric the examples, egocentric base is disappearing. So machine get upset. Machine get upset. So these are the things development that is for the verification. But the Buddhistic way is different. It is doing by interviews. You go and explain to the teacher, and teacher will try to understand if you are directly giving only to on the what happened, not what you thought, but not what you expected. Then the teacher get upset. You have to purely explain what is happening. That's the most difficult part because we are always talking with colored mind, which we are with our premeditated ideas. Therefore, whatever we express is what we thought, not what is happening. So therefore, first interview, second interview, third interview, the communication starts. And after long time only, you can express what is happening. That is a part and parcel of the restraint. It is not moral restraint. It is not concentration restraint. That's called wisdom restraint. Just say what happens, just like a CCTV camera. So then communication is very clear. Otherwise, we are not communicating. Otherwise, we are in a premeditated ideas and we are in a self-centered vocabulary and language very difficult. In that sense, silence is better. Even though communication won't happen, the emotional intelligence, emotional literacy can have kind of a telepathic kind of understanding. They usually appear like mystics, not scientific like. So scientists may not accept it, but they are verifiable ways and means. So among the meditators, very easy. Do it in according to the schedule, don't talk each other. But things are happening. But outside world, so much of communication system, but world wars and so much of divorces, so much of misunderstanding because of lack of communication. So therefore, in the Bhavana societies and meditation centers, we feel like family members. We have feeling because we all are human, because correct livelihood. So American Buddhism is called business Buddhism, always money. So when I started mindful school, I went and explained to Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi. He accused me, are you also behind dollars? Are you also behind business Buddhism? No, I told him, completely free. Completely free. And after 3 years of continuous discussion only, he started giving blessings. Just pass it to the children. I mean, they are very innocent. If we can give the mindfulness, if we can teach them walking meditation or mindful walking, mindful sitting, mindful day-to-day activities, and mindful games, they're very innocent. We can understand. But with the 8 years or more experience, we are dealing with criminals, inmates of the prison, and terminal cancer patients, and addicted people, and abused children. I mean, we are at the very low ebb. But if you explain properly, easily they can understand, still mindfulness can be communicated. Humanity, nothing happened to the humanity. Otherwise, we are forest monks, we have very little dealing with the outside world. Due to this mindful school, we went and started to work with it. And the Vesak, last few days, we commemorated the 2567 Vesak Day. The President Secretariat sent a letter to all the organizations. Earlier we did with the Education Department and the Health and the jurisdiction. Now all the government sectors, higher education, vocational training, school sector, everyone must do this Vesak ceremony with mindfulness. Then Sri Lanka is the best place on the earth. We are very poor. So much of corruptions and everything, but you can be mindful. You can be unto yourself. So that is what I mentioned in the UN Vesak ceremony. Please, please suggest a United Nations Mindful Day, Global Mindful Day. Many people do not know. But it's well explained in all the holy scripts, not only in Buddhism. So therefore, we must be mindful ambassadors. We must communicate with others by our way of life. And if you, of course, when you are doing, if you are living in a, if you are living in a Samma Aji, or correct livelihood, it's a silent sermon. By looking at others can understand. Simplicity, the frugal way of living, giving so much of happiness, very little amount of corruption and pollution, global warming. So therefore, don't consider this thought moment of mindfulness, thought moment of uh, correct living is insignificant. Very, very significant. Start it with and have sustaining, and you will see amazing amount of momentum it gathers. It won't take so much of time. At the beginning, it take very difficult to start with. And when you are continuing, definitely it will gather the momentum. And main thing I found in my life is we can feel other mindful people in all the societies, not only Buddhists. They consider this as holistic. And more than expected amount of preparation, more than expected, there are a lot of people, they are giving a silent sermon. Unless otherwise you calm down, you can't plug with them. You can't communicate with them. So therefore, first and foremost, I will end the talk telling, be mindful and mind your own business. Thank you very much for listening. So,